Michael, afternoon. First of all, I mean, in your own words, a game of two halves midweek. How were you with the players at half-time? What did you do to make a difference in the second half?
How was I? I was quite calm with them, to be honest. I think it wasn't for the want of trying. It wasn't the effort that we weren't kind of getting. If anything, it was that belief in that kind of feeling when the confidence is a little bit, you're not quite sure because things haven't gone well. It's that real belief to really back yourself and fully commit to your decision in certain actions, really. And they did that second half. And were unlucky and probably deserved to get more from the game. We feel that anyway. And I see as the biggest thing I see in the effort, the application, the attitude, and trying to do the right things in certain ways. So just try to reassure them that and back them and tell them to double down and if not even back yourself even more. And stop thinking about it so much, and trust your instincts. And they did that second half and showed what they're capable of in moments.
2 points from 7 games. I mean, you don't need reminding that's not a great start. So can you describe your mood and the mood about the place? Because you set the mood, don't you, for this place? So what's your mindset?
My mood's good. Obviously not happy that we haven't got the points we've got. So I accept, the situation and the position that we find ourselves in. But it doesn't change my mood. It doesn't change my behaviours around the place or with the players. And they know what we expect, and the biggest thing I can ask for is effort, attitude, application, and in many ways we're getting that. I can't question that. If anything, it's almost a little bit of, sometimes you can want it so much, and there's such a good group of people that they want it so much. I can see that they're all trying so hard, and sometimes I can go in the other direction of and hinder you a little bit, and I think we can see that at certain times and second guessing certain things. So it's a little bit of going the other way, as crazy as that seems. Not in terms of not trying an effort, but taking a little bit more of a deep breath and relaxing and trusting themselves, because I know what they can do, and they've showed that at certain times, and I'm sure they'll show it plenty more in the games ahead. And
you still have belief in the quality of the players you've got now with you?
100%.
Southampton, an interesting challenge. I mean, they're such a curious egg of a team at the moment. How do you describe that challenge? What do you think they present?
Yeah, it's obviously a big challenge. I mean, look, they just came down from the Premier League, and they've assembled within that still a really, really strong squad individually and collectively. They've got fantastic options and strength and depth, and a real dangerous team. Quality individuals who can kind of turn games in a moment. And yeah, they've not had a fantastic run in the last couple of weeks results wise, but I think they'll be a strong team in this league for sure for the rest of the season. So it's a good challenge for us. Tough game, tough challenge, but an exciting one for us to go and perform well and try and win.
I mean, it's a mouth-watering occasion, really, isn't it? A game that will grace the Premier League with the two great sides. What kind of game can we expect, do you think?
It's very difficult to say. You can never predict how it's going to go. Of course, we want a game where we play well and we're good going forward, and we don't give much away on the other end of the pitch. What kind of game? I think we've seen over recent weeks in the league, there's been all sorts of games. There's been low-scoring games, there's been tight games, there's been high-scoring games. I think it's very difficult to predict. I know we'll be giving everything. I know we'll have a good energy, a real intensity in it, and a real fight within us to get the right result.
And the fact that they seem to be conceding a lot of goals. I mean, 5 when they came up here for the game at Sunderland. Does that give you hope that actually there's some goals to be had?
It's not so much them. What gives me hope is knowing what we're capable of, really, and putting it together, putting the performance together as a whole, as a group. That's what gives me hope. The opposition, we can't control that. They've got their own agenda and their own things to work towards, but it's about us, really, and putting a performance together and building a performance and putting things in place that'll allow us to or give us the best chance of getting the right result.
Michael, thanks very much.
Michael, Southampton with Russell Martin, interesting tactical challenge because they want to have the ball literally all the time. But teams have showed recently that can almost be used against them. Is it interesting in that respect?
I just think you can play football in so many different ways. I think the beauty about this division is there's a whole raft of styles throughout the league, different ends of the league as well. So it's not necessarily a certain style that proves to be successful. You can do it in different ways. So in terms of styles, I think it's pretty clear the style that their manager likes and sticks with, and he's obviously a good coach. He coaches his teams well because they've got a clear identity and his beliefs shine through in his team. And so yeah, it'll be a good test for us. We feel we're a good team, and putting the performance together, we're a really good team. So that's our focus really.
When you came last season, you spent most of last season managing at the top end of the division. Is it the same job when you're managing at the other end, or is it different?
It's the same job. Ultimately, it's the same job. Slightly different challenges at times, and of course, things come a lot easier for everybody when things are going well. That's me included, the players, the supporters, the club as a whole. But ultimately, it's the same job. We've got a really good group of people here that I enjoy working with, love working with the players, and preparing them for the next challenge and the next test. And they're up for it, we're up for it. In the end of the day, that's it. It's about the next game and getting the right result in the next game.
You touched on it at the start, but when it is in sort of this position and people are maybe struggling a bit for confidence, how important is the kind of the psychology of it and the psychology of the coaching and what you're delivering to them as well?
For me, that part of it's massive. It's massive both ways. As I've just said, when you're winning, it all comes down to the confidence and the trust, and it's so clear. Things happening in slow motion. It's not actually in reality happening any slower. But in your mind it's a lot clearer when it's not quite there and you haven't quite got that feeling. Things happen a little bit quicker, maybe a little bit more clouded. I know I've been there. Trust me, plenty of times as a player when you're not seeing it as you hope, and it's just don't feel quite as in control maybe as your own game as you would like. That's natural. And that is, what kind of goes on up there. It doesn't change your ability. It doesn't really change your fitness levels or anything. That's kind of is what it is. Top level sports is one in the mind. So that's a test. That's a challenge. And in times like this, you get tested, but you got to embrace that. You got to look forward to coming through it and working through it and rising to that challenge.
Always a question like, can you actually coach confidence, or ultimately does it come down to everyone, the players, the fans need that winning feeling?
Yeah, confidence comes from an element of success really. That can be small gains, throughout the game. That can be little gains. That can be winning challenges. That can be successful pass or a successful dribble or whatever kind of little detail within the game. That you can gain confidence quite quickly through little actions. But of course, the big success is going ahead in games, winning games, scoring goals. That ultimately gives you that next level. But you can gain positive kind of boost of energy and certain positive thinking from all the little things that go on through the game. And sometimes it takes a bit of time to build that. And they say you got to work through it and you got to work hard and do the simple things well to ultimately get the success. It's not click your fingers and everything's fantastic again. You got to go about it, accept it, and do something about it. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and you got to work through it.
Thank you.
Just picking up on that, Michael, and the likes of confidence and belief, and also when you talk about being calm and setting the tone around the place. I mean, is that nature of being calm something that you think ultimately will be conducive to the players, growing that belief and that confidence, or keeping it, as opposed to say, ranting and raving when it isn't going well?
I don't think it's for me to say what's right or wrong. I think it's just you do what, for me personally, I do what I believe and I do what I feel in that moment, and I am the character and the personality naturally who I am as well, and I deal with the situations because I feel that's right for me, or it feels the right thing at the right time. Do you get it right all the time? No, probably don't. But you got to understand where the players are coming from, what like you just said, mentally where they're at. Players are giving absolutely everything. I can't fault that. So what's to get angry about? It's about working with each other, working together, and coming through this. We will, no problem.
Just on the injury front, is there any updates on Alex and Marcus who missed out?
Not really. No, we're still waiting. We're still hopeful to a point, but can't guarantee it either way for the weekend.
And yesterday, I think it was, Matt Clark playing 45 minutes for the under-21. His first game for every year. Important kind of milestone for him.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, nice positive question. Nice positive news. I think it's it's Clark. He's been out for a long time and been through an awful lot. I've obviously sat here and told you that a number of times. But to see him back on the pitch, it was a training ground game, and it was a friendly, and there wasn't really many people watching. But putting your kit on, putting your shin pads on, getting ready for a game, warming up. It's a big step for Clarky. So I was delighted for him to come through that, and it's just the next step, and he's rehabbing, getting him back to fitness really, which is great. He deserves it. He's worked so hard for a long period of time, so it's fantastic to see.
Yeah, and when you talk about that next step, is there a kind of a process, different stages towards him getting back to that first team picture, or? Yeah,
there's no pressure from me at all in terms of time wise, and from that side, I think the answer is we don't know how long it'll be, and Clark will find his way and his momentum and his rhythm in terms of getting back to full training and being every day and hitting different stages. That'll happen naturally, so we're not chasing it by any stretch or putting any deadlines or dates on anything. It's just getting him back around the group, which is he has done now for a number of weeks, and getting him back on the pitch is great.
Just lastly from me then, you alluded on Tuesday night players forming partnerships and perhaps the team settling down a little bit to help with the gelling. I mean, you have made a lot of changes to the team in recent weeks, but is that ideally something you do want to see going forward? Is kind of a more solid 11 forming?
I think the partnerships and connections and wavelengths is the ideal scenario. Of course it is, and sometimes that's taken away from bias, from injuries or out of form or trying different things, different systems, whatever that may be. But yeah, of course, over time, consistency is key. Consistency on individual level of performance, the little units within the team, and playing your game within the game, within the big game. It can be individual battles, it can be midfield battles, it can be forward against defence against the forwards. There's all sorts of different. But I think ultimately with that connection and the wavelength and understanding of each other, so you're not second guessing, does help. But that sometimes take time as well, and that's something that obviously we're working towards to get that balance right.
Just on the form, Michael, what do you think are the main reasons for the results so far?
Main reasons, it doesn't take a lot, to be honest, for it to kind of tilt the other way. I think we've been close in every game really, I'd say, most games at least, and we definitely should have won more games. There's no, and that's not me looking at rose tinted glasses. I think it's pretty obvious we should have won more games, but there's all sorts of different reasons. Little things in games can go the other way. That little dent in confidence, that little bit where it kind of goes against you, and you've got to find a way of getting it back. There's no easy way, there's no easy answer, straightforward at least, but we'll find a way.
And I know you touched on it there, but in a position you're in now, is your job more about coaching or managing people?
It's both, always is both. I think it's you keep trying to get me carried away last year when we were winning games, and that's managing people in itself. So this works both ways. That doesn't change. It's just maybe it's a little bit of a different direction, but I'll find that right balance. And as I said, I repeat again, in terms of the players and their effort, their attitude, that's there 100%. I can't fault that one bit. So I'm really excited about what we can achieve together moving forward.
I know when Coventry, the playoff game, when they set the fireworks off at the end of last season, you were saying then that you have no problem sleeping. It didn't wake you up. You have no problem sleeping. Do you have sleepless nights now when results? Do you have sleepless nights now when results are as they are at the minute?
I wouldn't say sleepless nights. No, I think I'm Well, no, I sleep well, to be honest. I sleep pretty well. There's obviously things, you know, as I said, it's not hiding from the fact it becomes more difficult and more challenging because we're trying to find solutions, you know, we're trying to find the answers why it's not quite clicking and not quite working. But in terms of sleeping, I do sleep well.
And finally, when you talk there about managing expectations when things are going well at the top end of the table, as you did, obviously after losing in the playoffs, natural expectations are going to challenge again. In the short term, do expectations have to change?
Not for me, no. My expectations and the group's expectations are to win football matches. That is it. Whether it's this week, next week, the week after, every game we play is to win football matches. In terms of what happens further down the line, the bigger picture, you know, that's, I said to you last year, that's not something you can really control and look too far ahead towards, you know. It's about kind of what happens now, and yeah, of course we plan ahead to a point, and what could it look like, what might it look like, but really it's about accumulating points and results and taking it step by step. So that doesn't change for me. I was saying the same things to you again last year, and that's what I believe in, kind of in the end brings you success or doesn't, you know. It's what happens game by game, ticking them off, and I save kind of brain space for that really in terms of drifting of what might happen further down the line.
Thank you.
Michael, you've spoken many times in the past about how Sir Alex was a major influence on you. We've clearly listened to you today and in previous press conferences. Your dressing room manner is very, very different, isn't it?
Yeah, probably it's different to a lot of different managers. I think probably different to everyone, because everyone's got their own way of doing things, and there's not a set way of doing things. There's not a right or wrong. Some are more successful than others. Obviously, I kept getting asked about the boss, and obviously he's as good as you could ever be. So obviously take things from what he's done over the years or what I've seen him do. But in the end, you know, I am who I am. I've got to speak to people in a certain way, coming from how I see things in my manner, and trust in what I do.
You ever raised your voice in the dressing room, or do you always have this calmness about your win, lose or draw?
Once or twice I have, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the last time we asked you, you said you hadn't.
What was that?
I've got a good memory.
Yeah, once or twice I have. Again, it's that's just picking the moments for what needs said or done at the right time, and what I see really. But I say it'll never be for seeing someone trying and the effort and their attitude. I don't think, for me, I can never have a go with that. Anyone for that.
I mean, you know, it's this wacky world of football management. 3 or 4 months ago, you've been linked with Premier League jobs. Now 1 or 2 people say you're under pressure, but is your mood outside when you go home, is it the same now as it was back then?
Honestly, it doesn't affect me. I don't, you know, I come to work, whereas it's not even work, it's something that I love doing, and I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I can do something that I love doing. I don't take that for granted, for starters, because not everyone can do that, is fortunate enough. So that's one thing for me, is coming in every day and appreciating where I'm at. So yeah, I don't, you know, it is what it is. I just treat every day like that and enjoy what I'm doing, really.
Just one final one from me, Michael. Josh Coburn, local lad, you know, he got the taste of FA Cup glory 2 or 3 seasons ago. Can you see him scoring the goals which could shut you off the table?
Yeah, I'm not putting everything on Josh by any stretch. He's here, he's a striker, he's obviously a big part of the group, big part of the squad, played well the other night. So yeah, he's definitely got a part to play. You know, I'm not expecting Josh to go and score 30 to 40 goals this season, but of course he's got a part to play. He knows that, he'll expect that of himself. I'm looking forward to see how he develops and how his season goes, because he's done really well, he's trained great, he's improved, I feel, over the period of time that he's been here since pre-season, and looking forward to see what it brings in the next few weeks and months. Was there a moment when you thought you might go alone and you changed your mind and thought, no, we want them here? I wouldn't say there was one moment. I think it just happened naturally over time. He trained with us to start with. We were really looking forward to working with him and seeing him close up, because obviously I hadn't been fortunate enough to do that since I'd been here. And then the injury kind of hampered that a little bit pre-season. But he got fit, started looking really good once he got fit and up and running and around the group. And towards the end of the window, we kind of just proved to be the right thing for him to be here. He wanted to do that. We wanted to do that. It worked out really well.